Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabanson, and welcome you guys to another episode of the DREAMERSPRO show. We cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, and entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. Well, looks like we got some NBA beef over here going on. Not really, but before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and sub to the channel. So, last year, there was a lot made about Redick becoming the coach of the Lakers, right? A lot of people felt like he got that coaching position because of his relationship with LeBron James. People like Stephen A. Smith went at LeBron for basically undermining his coach at the time, Darvin Ham, by doing a podcast with another player talking about coaching and what plays they would run and this and this and this. He thought that was very disrespectful to the coach at the time, Darvin Ham, right? So later on, when the Lakers actually did decide to hire Redick, it wasn't any real shock, but everybody attributed that to the podcast, the Mind Game podcast that LeBron was doing with Redick. And I got to say this, last year, Redick absolutely exceeded my expectations. I thought the Lakers were going to flounder, but he gave them a much better regular season record than they'd had. I think it was a 3 seed or 4 seed, one of that last year. But nevertheless, they still had the same conclusion as Darvin Ham the year prior. They got knocked out in round one. So I was actually stunned when I saw this news yesterday of Minnesota Timberwolves head coach Chris Finch, who basically took a shot at Redick. And I want to show you guys a thumbnail here. It says, it'll qualify you to coach the Lakers. And as a matter of fact, you can see Chandler Parsons in the comments saying, oh, wow. You see his comment there, just kind of reacting to it. So what we want to do is I want to play this sound for you guys. And then want to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to what Chris Finch had to say here.
Months. Yeah. My wife was worried about me. She's like, you're such a workaholic. What are you going to do? And I was like, watch how amazing I am at doing nothing. It was great.
I bet you 3/4 of these people are going to go home and do a podcast tonight,
Yeah. You're going with the anti-media tropes right out of the gate.
It'll qualify you to coach the Lakers,
Excellent. So you heard his comments. Now, why does this pack an extra punch? Well, first of all, it's a sitting NBA coach saying this about another NBA coach. But it's also important to understand that Chris Finch coached against Redick last year in round one in the playoffs. Do you guys remember that? He coached against them, and his team beat the Lakers decisively. And during that coaching battle or whatever, JJ was kind of exposed for not being, for basically being a rookie head coach. He was making some blunders here and there. There was the one move that he did that drew a lot of criticism, which was him deciding to play his starters an entire second half of a playoff game. He was criticized heavily for that. Obviously, he was very defensive with the media. That didn't work out in his favor, and a lot of people pointed the blame and in his direction, and I think that was justified. I think they did the right thing by pointing the blame in his direction because he was a coach and he needed to own some of those decisions. But nevertheless, the Lakers are off to a pretty good start this year. They're the number 5 seed right now in the Western Conference behind the Houston Rockets, Denver Nuggets, Oklahoma City Thunder, and I can't remember the other team that's leading them in the standings, right? And the Spurs. But nevertheless, he's doing a great job. And I think it's also important to bear in mind that he's able to coach them to this record while Austin Reeves has missed, I think, 2 games. Luka Doncic has missed 4 games, right? So he's been able to keep this team, he's been able to help this team remain pretty consistent on a night in and night out and competitive on a night in and night out basis. So it's very surprising to see a sitting head coach say that about another coach. You never see that. You've seen coaches kind of go back and forth with each other in playoff series. You've seen that happen. But to say that, it's surprising, right? You wouldn't expect that. You would expect that from maybe a pundit or someone else, maybe a former player, but a coach in the NBA, that was that could be something. Let me say this. That could be a sentiment that's probably felt across the league by other coaches, right? It could be a sentiment that a lot of coaches have that maybe Chris Finch is just voicing what a lot of these other guys think. But look, let's not be too hard on JJ. Again, I'm not a fan of it. I wasn't a fan of his, but he's doing a good job with this team. But if we want to talk about some questionable things going down in the NBA, there's another coach that I'm wondering how he even still has a job. And you know who that is? Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers. It's unreal. Now, Doc Rivers is actually a proven coach. He's a championship coach. But when Doc Rivers lost his job in Philadelphia, and I think like a week or so later, he got hired by the Milwaukee Bucks, we were all like, you got to be joking. Like, this has to be. We were even making jokes like, Doc Rivers must have the best agent in all of sports, man. So, yeah, JJ, you can crack some jokes. You can say one or two things about him, but he isn't the only one, right? But in JJ's credit, he's doing a good job, right? He's doing a good job. But nevertheless, that doesn't stop me from being surprised at the fact that a sitting head coach would nevertheless say this about another coach. These are my thoughts. Whatever you guys think, leave your thoughts in the comments, and we catch you on the next show. I'm out. Peace.